the last session of waking up from your slumber. So before we start the session, we'll have a moment's silence, please. So greetings everyone, and welcome to the last session of this workshop. And today she's going to be speaking about staying true to the path. So very much looking forward to this session. Over to you, Monica.
Thank you, James. So, yeah, any reflections, anyone, anything to share? Okay, so I'm assuming there's nothing at the moment. So we'll actually listen to a teaching first, short one, explaining to us the crux of the matter, and then we can kind of maybe begin to wind up, and also begin to talk about the future, because of course the life goes on and we all have our own paths. So things go on even after the workshop. Our sadhana, our practice goes on even after the workshop. And we'll just maybe reflect and talk about that, how to stay true to the path. So I'll just put the teaching on. Give me a moment.
The Buddha taught 4 objects of mindfulness. First of all, the body. So that includes breathing, because breathing is something which is always with us. And also during the day, if we get agitated, if we get upset, if we get suddenly frazzled, we can just take a few deep breaths and be conscious of the breath going in and out, and it helps to calm the mind, bring us back into the present. So he therefore also, apart from breathing, he recommended the 4 postures: standing, sitting, walking, and lying down, that we should know when we are sitting, we are sitting. When we are walking, we are walking. So again, during the day, this is very useful, because first of all, we're always breathing, so we can always be aware of our breath. We don't have to look for it. There it is. The moment we think about our breath, we're with the breath. The moment we think about our posture, we're with the posture. So while we're walking down the street, or walking down the corridor, climbing stairs, we either know that or we don't. We're either aware of the body or we're not. Where did I leave my keys? Where did I put my glasses? I know I put my hat somewhere. You know? Unmindful. So again, during the day, we can bring our awareness, just the very simple things like the postures of the body. When we're sitting, to know we're sitting. Walking, we know we're walking. Standing, we know we're standing. And that also develops this ability to be aware, to be conscious, to wake up. So, this is shamatha meditation. Shamatha meditation also means, I'm looking at the time, I don't want you to lose your lunch. Shamatha meditation also means watching the thoughts. Normally, when we think, we are swept along by our thoughts. We are our thoughts. We are like, if you think of thought as a river, then we're completely submerged and we're swept along. We and the thinking are the same. And so we go up and down, swept along by our feelings, our emotions, our ideas, our memories, our aspirations, our hopes, our fears, our whatever, just blah, 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 blah. So now, having honed the ability to be aware, then we turn that awareness onto the mind itself. And it is compared to like someone sitting on the banks of the river, watching the river go past. Instead of being swept along by the river, we are now on the banks watching the river, like watching television. And like television, so boring. Very repetitious, same old soap operas being replayed again and again. Oh God, this is my mind. People get depressed. Because normally we are so caught up in our mind, we don't recognize actually how very uncreative our mind normally is. We programming the same old thing again and again and again, and just caught up in all our mental fixations. If we step out and we just observe them, then we can see that they're just moment to moment changing. I mean, you can't hold on to anything and say this is a good thought, because it's changed. In doing this, and in all meditation, one should be at the same time very relaxed, not tight. Very relaxed, very spacious. When I was, for many years I lived in this Himalayan valley called Lahore. And below where I lived there was this meadow. And so in the summertime, the shepherd would bring up the flocks from the various villages. He would go around and then he would bring up, collect all the sheep and bring them up. And often he would be on that meadow. And he would bring the sheep up, and then there was this rock, and he would sit on the rock, get out his bottle of beer, lie out, and just lie there watching. And so the sheep would scatter and, graze. And by the end of the afternoon, they would all have just had enough to eat, and they would just be lying there, quiet. And then he would come down, round them all up, and take them down. And then one time, obviously he was sick or something, he was indisposed, and this boy came up. And obviously he had been told that if he lost a single sheep, he would be, God knows what would happen to him. So he was very, 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 very careful not to lose a single sheep. And so what he did was get all the sheep together in a big bunch. And he ran round and round and round. Every time a sheep tried to go off to eat something, back, back. And so he spent all day long just keeping the sheep together. These poor sheep, they had no chance to eat. They had no chance for anything. There's just a bunch of nervous sheep. And he was exhausted. And at the end of the day, he took them down because he hadn't lost any sheep. But the sheep were probably very hungry and not happy little sheep. And I thought, yeah, this is like meditation. You know, skillful, unskillful meditation. The unskillful is keeping everything very tight, got to concentrate, keep all the thoughts together, you know, mustn't lose attention. Get back in there. And the skillful way was like the old shepherd who just lay back, let the sheep wander, but he was not asleep. He was watching those sheep. If a wolf came, we had wolves. If a wolf came, he would be down in a moment. But as long as nothing was threatening, the sheep were able to just wander off. You know, I mean, if they tried to go down too near the precipice again, he would call them back. But in general, they just wandered around, did their grazing, and then of themselves they settled down.
So I think we have really very crisp instruction on the path. Just yesterday we were talking about, I think Lata ji was asking about what to do with this ego. And nothing to do, you know, just keep watching, keep watching, keep watching. And if it arises and you are watchful, you'll automatically be doing the right thing to do if you're watchful. You would not be able to follow the dictates of ill will, negative thoughts, and God knows what arises in the mind. It's only when we are unaware that we are caught by those waves of old tendencies, patterns, which constantly keep repeating themselves, and we are puppeted around. So then waking up from our sleep is moment to moment. And as we were talking yesterday also, that there would never be that one moment where I would say, okay, now I can sleep. I have been wakeful enough for 20 years, 30 years. We will never be able to say that. That's why they say that the divine is infinite. You know, they would never be like, okay, I have arrived. That's the best I can become, and I have become that. There'll always be better and better and better that we can do. That's why Mother relates it, for those of us who can't use the word divine, relate with perfection. And those of us who are either into art or any kind of art, music, anything, we know that perfection is a road that we travel. We never reach perfection. And that's why we can never reach the bestest possible version of ourselves. And that keeps us employed. All of us are forever employed. Will never be unemployed in that regard. So the greater a practitioner one may have become, but then there would be greater things to do, more things to do, more things to work upon within ourselves. Because the quality, you know, such is the nature of the ego, that since it is illusory, it appears to be, but it's not there, it's nothing concrete. And that is why we'll never be rid of it. You know, we can be rid of something which is concrete, like, okay, I can be rid of this cup, maybe, you know, again, that is also not true. But when we talk of ego, we can actually forget about being egoless. Just forget about it, relax. No need to fight the ego. We can exist with the ego, not fighting with it, watching it, just being watchful, being conscious of the movements within. That's what Mother says, that be conscious of each and every inner movement. And in being conscious, the right action is taken by default, because that consciousness with which we watch, the consciousness which is aware, that itself has innate quality of wisdom and knowing. It is very discerning consciousness. It's not a dumb consciousness. So this quality of looking that we slowly develop through mindfulness, being aware of each and everything that we are engaged in, that itself takes care of the right action, right speech, right word. So anything here, anyone?
Can I share something that
Mm-hmm.
I actually got this in the email from the newsletter from the Aurobindo Society, and I was quite zapped to read this because just today morning I was trying to think of mm, how to how do I put it in words that when I'm trying to observe one particular emotion, I'm not able to hold. Not only am I not able to hold on to it, but then there are so many thoughts coming that it's like a some very noisy space. And just when I was thinking this, I saw this newsletter, and normally I don't open it because I didn't even know what it was, and then it used to go in my promotions folder. So today I actually opened it, and I just want to read out this one part because it was exactly describing what I was seeing. So this is a quote from Sri Aurobindo. The practice of yoga brings us face to face with the extraordinary complexity of our own being, the stimulating but also embarrassing multiplicity of our personality, the rich, endless confusion of nature. And then later he goes on, we find that we are composed not of one, but many personalities, and each has its own demands and differing nature. Our being is a roughly constituted chaos into which we have to introduce the principle of a divine order. Moreover, we find that inwardly too, no less than outwardly, we are not alone in the world. The sharp separatedness of our ego was no more than a strong imposition and delusion. We do not exist in ourselves. We do not really live apart in an inner privacy or solitude. Our mind is a receiving, developing, and modifying machine into which there is constantly being passed from moment to moment a ceaseless foreign flux, a streaming mass of disparate materials from above, from below, from outside. Much more than half our thoughts and feelings are not our own in the sense that they take form out of ourselves. Of hardly anything can it be said that it is truly original to our nature. And I was thinking, like, this is exactly what I was what I was thinking, that where are all these thoughts coming from? And now that I'm noticing them, they suddenly like, but then of course, how do you deal with it? And he talks about the path of the bhakta, the path of the man of knowledge, the path of the sadhaka of the integral yoga. And he talks about it, but it's all very difficult. But I think I was coming back to what you said yesterday, that we can just come back to the breath and also then have the faith that the guidance will come. you know so I think for me, that seemed to be like the only, because otherwise, it's almost impossible to may put that order in these thoughts and to understand why are you having these thoughts. And so I think what you suggested yesterday, to just come back to the breath again and again, and then have the faith that at some point the guidance will also come in the stillness, like you said. When you're silent, that's when the guidance comes. So yeah,
Beautiful.
I just wanted to share that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing. Just notice that the mind is very restless. We all notice that. And the problem with us is not that we don't have instructions for the path. The problem is that we don't stick to instructions. since the mind changes colors every moment, it wants newness. It gets bored very quickly with the previous instructions. And that's almost like, imagine that you start playing ukulele, ukulele, I guess, right? The first day you play, and then you say, oh, that's it, the mind gets bored. Next day you pick up piano. Again, difficult exercises for the fingers, everything, right? 2 days, 3 days you play, and then you say, that's it. So it's almost like the restless mind that we have, the monkey chattery mind. It does not listen to one instruction, it does not stick to it. It keeps on picking different instruments, and it never sticks with one instrument. Now imagine, we have seen, or many of us may be artists and musicians themselves, that if we do not stick to one particular teaching for a good considerable long time, no artistry, no skill can be developed. So mindfulness, being conscious of our own palace, our own fort, being knowledgeable of our own condition of the mind, states of consciousness, is a skill. And if I don't stick to instruction, I can be sure that the monkey mind will just keep on jumping to scriptures after scriptures, and it will just be deluded. Just be deluded. So very simple. If we really want to keep it very simple, we can, again, for those of us with whom it resonates, just stick to bringing the mind home to the breath and the body. Don't leave the palace alone. Don't abandon the palace. And this is how slowly we unify the parts of our beings. Mother and Sri Aurobindo have talked enough on the unification, the need for unification. And the day before yesterday, I was reading something on death by Mother and Sri Aurobindo, and there Sri Aurobindo clearly shares that after death, the mental being disintegrates, the vital being disintegrates, the physical being disintegrates, the psychic goes to the psychic plane for rest. But for those of us who have taken the effort, done the effort to unify their being around the psychic center, for them, even the mental vital sheaths, they remain unified with the psychic center and share the immortality of the psychic being. Otherwise, like for example, the vital being that we are, emotional, feeling being, full of impulses and desires, after the body dissipates, dissolves to other elements, the vital being, as if each desire in the vital being, it runs towards its own fulfillment. So you think you are dead, but you are not dead. Your desires still go on running. And this Kabir also has said, he says, Maya mari na man mara, mar gaye sharir, Asha Trishna na mari, keh gaye Das Kabir. So he says, you think you become dead after you drop the body. He says, but your desires don't die. You keep on living. It's like ghosts of desires. And that can piggyback on somebody else who is alive, your desires. Would you like to do that to somebody? Think about it, social responsibility, right? So imagine desire for body, desire for lust, desire for cigarette, anything, desire for name, ambition. After you drop dead, it piggybacks on somebody else. Don't do that, please. It's a social responsibility each one of us has to do. So right now, while I am alive, can I be dead to my desires? That's what Mother says, or Sri Aurobindo would share, Jivan Mukta, one who has totally got disenchanted from the world, manifested world, that this world I cannot bank upon for my contentment and happiness. There's somebody, someplace else where I go to for that, right? So leave the burden. Don't place this burden of happiness and wanting things from the worldly existence. Then you'll be really a free person, really a free person. And then you can offer yourself to the world. But this only comes slowly as our conviction grows that this world actually cannot give me anything. This fleeting world of fleeting phenomena, it cannot give me anything. So let me go to some place else for having fulfillment and contentment, the inner refuge. Then we become beneficial to the world. Then we can offer ourselves to the world and not be a burden on the world, even after we are dying. Imagine your desires piggybacking on somebody else. How sad. Don't people have enough of their baggage? So this is the task which is to be done right now when we are alive, because, and since we don't know what is the time of death, it almost becomes an urgency to unify ourselves. It's almost an urgency. So just like Ekta was sharing, that we are so, like so many selves, different selves, like scattered. Mind wants something else, feelings are wanting something else, the body is demanding something different. I have no clue what to do. So just to notice that this is happening in my being, that itself is the light of consciousness which allows us further unfolding on the path. Just being mindful of the chaos within our being. And slowly, as we become capable to have more and more time in which the mind can be tamed. So if I now want the mind with the breath, the mind stays with the breath. So you are preparing a tool. Mind is a beautiful instrument that we have, beautiful receptacle. If it can be tamed, if it can be silent, receptive, then the intuitive knowledge dawns and we can make use of that knowledge. That's the proper use of mind. It must be our tool. Should not be our master. Very, very bad master. So that's waking up from our sleep. So long as I listen to the dictates of mind and follow them blindly, I am sleeping. But when I become conscious of this monkey chattery mind, and now I create a breathing space between the movement of the mind and the witnessing consciousness, like a parallel consciousness is developed. Now things can change. Now things can change. Now the weather can change, the seasons can change. This movie, a very old movie, Groundhog Day, maybe some of you have seen. There is this guy who every day, he repeats his day again and again. Every day of the year, he repeats his day. He spills his coffee and he, barges into the same puddle. And the moment one day, and he's wondering actually, why are the seasons not changing? Why is the day repeating itself? He's wondering. And one day, when he shifts his consciousness, the weather changes, the seasons change, the people around him change. So I feel that it's almost a social responsibility to wake up from our dream. And all the thoughts and stories that go ahead in our heads throughout the day and the night, it's a dream. We are all dreaming all the time. And when we know that as a dream, that, oh, I got lost in the dream again. Suddenly you become aware, I got lost in the story again. And it's a dream, it's not reality. Then I can wake up to the present moment. Then things can change for better. Then I have a choice. Then it's my life. Then it's a life of divine will. Only then. But then in the next moment, I slip back and the sleep starts again. So that's why it's moment to moment. It's binary. It's either 0 or 1. Either I am asleep or I am awake. And that's the vigilance that is required of us throughout our life, as long as we are alive. I think it's a beautiful journey if we get a hang of it. It's a very interesting, enchanting journey.
Good evening, Monica ji. This is Parvinder here. There were two
Yes.
questions
Yeah.
coming to my mind.
Please.
One, are there any milestones on this journey? I mean, just to give us the hang of I know it's infinite. I could make that out, but then any milestones? If they are there, that was one thing. And a second was that when you are leading a team, how is it that you can tell your team members that this is not real? I mean, how to, because when you're working in a very materialistic world with all those emotions, egos, everything at play. So how do you link yourself with everybody else? So where is that connecting link? How can we bridge that divide?
So the first thing that you said, are there any milestones? I'm sure there are, I'm sure. But if you really begin to enjoy the journey, do you care for the milestones? I'm just wondering, actually, I don't have any answer to this. I'm just wondering that imagine that there is a very long journey that you're on, long journey. You don't know when it will end or whether it will end or not. And you begin to enjoy the journey. You really are getting a hang of it, like you're enjoying it. Would you care for the milestone, whether I've reached or not, or what stage I'm at, and what is the other person, at the level? Would you care about that? I'm just asking.
I think personal experiences are milestones are on the
Yeah.
journey, and
Yeah.
they're like sort of watersheds that we move from one experience to another, and these major experiences that we have in life are milestones. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yes. Parvinderji, you were sharing something also. I think you were muted and you were sharing something.
No, I don't have an answer to this, and I don't even have an answer to your question as to do we actually need them or not. I'm not sure. So, but then, I mean, just like in any other journey, we do look forward to milestones and say that, okay, 50% covered, little bit left. So I'm just extrapolating if there is anything like that in this journey. If not, that's also okay.
I think we grow through experience, Parvinder.
Okay.
Each time we have an experience, we expand and grow, and it gives us confidence, and it galvanizes us for the next stage, in the journey.
Okay.
I think that's my personal impression, but I could be different. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Many a times, as James shared, that our experiences are a good indicator. But on the other hand, since this, we were talking about having labels and images in our head, right? Anything can become a label. Any spiritual experience, the ego can put a label like, hey, I got it. See, my medal, right? So the spiritual path is no different. In fact, it's even dangerous. Mother says that it's even dangerous to have a spiritual ego, because there you have really in a deep, deep muddle. You would not even know that it's a muddle. Oh, spiritual. Look, the medal, shiny, shiny. So I feel that be very wary of look at the mind, that the mind again and again wants labels. How would it be if you are without a label? How would it be? How free, how liberating? Yeah, you may have been on the path for 30, 40 odd 50 years, yes, but consider that nothing in front of eternity. Nothing. What are 50 years in front of eternity? And this journey is infinite. The journey towards union with the divine consciousness, it's infinite, since the divine is infinite. So whether you are at the 5th step or the other one is at the 50th step, you're as far and as close. So then you really drop the burden of how far I am. But as James was sharing, your own lightness, your own cheerfulness, simplicity is enough of a milestone. That okay, I feel okay. I feel that I have vigor for the life, and I still want to get up every morning and contribute to the world. That's enough of a milestone for a day. Yeah, a milestone. Yeah. And the second thing that you were sharing, that how to communicate this, for example, if you are leading a team. Now, one thing which comes to me is uh, your own example, your own presence, your own walking the path. The more you truly are walking the path, like true, and there is lesser and lesser the gulf between the knowing and living, I think it gets reflected, it oozes out, you can't help it. So just like a flower can't help not being fragrant, so you can't help the spillage to your teammates. On the other hand, if you I feel that if we are too preachy and wanting to advise people on how they should be taking this and that without being asked for, it troubles, because then your first of all your thing goes waste. It's like a wastage of effort, and the other person is not receptive, and there's no point talking about it mostly. But if somebody comes to you as a leader and asks you for a suggestion, that see, I'm going through this, and can we can you suggest me something, then it's the best time to offer something, because there the person is receptive, willing. Most of the times, living as egos, we are not receptive and willing, we are not receptive, so there's hardly any point of discussion there. So the only thing that you can do is to keep walking your own path in a and know that no matter how far you have traveled, there'll be always more and more and more to perfect something in yourself. Just know. So this groundedness, this humility, that okay, whether it's my junior teammates, but I have to learn here, I am there for learning. So the focus is progress and growth, and how I can benefit the team, if that is your sole intention, and not the fame and name that should come out of it, I think then you are in safe hands. So looking at your intentions of your mind, that okay, what am I intending here when I am interacting with the teammate? What is my intention? Do I want to make myself aggrandized, or do I want to offer benefit? Then it takes care of uh, the interaction, I feel.
Okay. Thank you. I think that answers. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So being conscious of these labels that keep arising, that oh, I have reached somewhere, haven't I? And very soon the life will tell where I have reached. So that's good. Actually, it's a very good thing, because it's a fail-safe mechanism. The moment ego and pride comes, and which I'm unconscious of, if I'm mindful of the pride arising, then it can be taken care of. But if I'm not mindful of the pride arising, and I begin to fall into the trap, then very soon a situation comes which gets me back to the ground. So it's a very good fail safe mechanism, that the divine has put in place for all of us, that we can't go long enough with our heads like big egos. Sooner or later we are shown the ground, which is very good for us, because we are not the egos. Anything else, anyone here? So I'm going to I don't have any like points or agendas, so we can take more reflections, or if there is anything.
From Parvinder's question,
Mhm.
Parvinder's asking about dealing with team, and taking forward from that, it's very it's very hard to actually balance one's the teachings that you're getting from your spiritual pursuits with the demands of material life and dealing with people and teams and all. It's and not just dealing with people, even otherwise in the bhagdod of life and in the race for uh, you know how does one balance one's spiritual pursuits with one's material needs and responsibilities and 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 not go one way or the other, like you said, you're always on the edge of the cliff, both sides. Is that, I mean, why is it so hard? And is that what is that the purpose?
Mhm. I feel, it becomes harder, and we try to balance because we don't know why we are here. Imagine that in our education system, 14, 15 years of basic education, uh, did anyone share with you why are you born? Did you study in any subject? What is the purpose of human life? No one shared, right? I think, thankfully, coming to masters like Mother Shri Aurobindo, one thing which is clear is that the purpose of human life is growth of consciousness. Very, very clear. It's very clear. Now, once this is clear, okay, no matter if I didn't hear about it in my education, doesn't matter. Here I am alive with still some more days or moments to my life. Now it resonates with me that the purpose of human life is growth of consciousness. So once that is set in front of me, then I don't need any balance. Then whether it's work life, family life, a life of being a wanderer, doesn't matter. What is the purpose? I remind myself, what is the purpose? Growth of consciousness. Is it happening? Okay, I see it's happening. Whether I'm here, there, everywhere, scattered, doesn't matter. So then I don't need any balance. We need balance when we don't even know why we are here. Then even if I become a beggar and come to the streets, nothing to eat. Okay, what is the purpose of human life? Growth of consciousness. How can I take it forward from there? It may be sounding a bit drastic, but I feel that this, being clear about why are we here, this really connects us with a deeper strength. That no matter what the outer situation may become, it may be good now, but it may not remain good for a long time. It may change since things keep on changing. But I will keep on learning, I will keep on progressing. That's the purpose. I am here. So, how does it matter if I lost a loved one? How does it matter if I failed in my degree? How does it matter if I failed in my job? Doesn't matter, because it is helping me to grow. Then the stakes become very low. We give everything a very high stake. That, oh my God, what if this happens? Oh my God, what if this happens? Yeah, this happens, you grow. That happens, you grow. Very simple. So I think if one thing is clear, and this thing must be clear to those of us who are here, listening to the sessions and coming to James, workshops again and again, at least this part should be clear, that human life is here for progress, for growth. Outer situations, totally secondary and irrelevant, immaterial. It's quite cruel. It may sound very cruel, because the social life that we have, we want to keep our family safe, this protected, this insurance, that insurance. Forget about that. Let it be cruel. Let life be cruel. Grow, grow through it. That's a well lived human life. Grow through every experience that comes on your way. And then you would not be wondering, okay, why was I here? What need were those 50 years? As if all the time I've kept feeling that something is lacking. That would not be there, because you did your best, what you were here for. So I think, I feel that once this thing is clear, that my purpose is my own growth of consciousness, and whatever is leading me to grow in consciousness, it cannot be that it does not benefit others. It will benefit others in some or the other way. So if I stay true to my path, that's the beauty. If I stay true to my path in whatever little area of my life, doesn't matter if you are not connected with many people, it doesn't matter. In whatever little domain of your life, if you stay true, that purpose, growth of consciousness, you would not even know, and you'll be contributing to the society, to the mankind, to the whole of existence. Because as mother shares that if you take care of your desire, you're actually making a ripple in the world of desires. So one thing which you overcome or transcended, sitting at your home, working on your inner self, that created a ripple which affects the whole of humanity. Imagine, nobody knew that you contributed, but you did, anonymously. So these little things, baby steps on the path, wherever we are in our team, working, as Parvinder ji is saying, in our own little offices, little homes, doesn't matter wherever you are. Whatever little progress you make in your being to transcend disturbing emotions, to see their true nature, you're actually creating a ripple in the whole world by doing that. Since we are all one. We are all one. So one drop of poison less in that whole ocean of existence. It's a very big achievement, although it doesn't get any medal. Nobody knows that you did it, but you did it, and here you are creating a ripple.
Hi.
Yes,
Sorry,
Shamil.
my camera is not working.
Okay.
What is the role of health on this path? Because, to do something or to sit and concentrate also, if one person is unable to sit for 10-15 minutes or do something, so his body is totally aching, can't concentrate because of that. Examples, he's very feeble and weak. Okay. In such case, the simplest task also, concentration on breathing also becomes really difficult. So in that case, how can he overcome it? He has a lot of desire, but physical condition is not suitable. So how to overcome it, or how to go on this path step by step? Some aid or some sort of calling. How to?
There is a song by Kabir ji on this where he says, "Hove re bhag bhala tera sadhu." Sadhu is sadhak on the path. So he says that tera bhag bhala hoga, you will really have a good time if when your body is healthy, you do the work.
Yes. But
So right now, starting from here, and then I'll lead you to where you asked question.
yeah.
So when you are in a relatively okay state of health, use it well. Use it to practice. Practice mindfulness. Practice being bringing the mind home to the body and the breath. When you are relatively okay, don't waste time in drain time, here and there and scattered. Yeah. So first thing is that instruction is very clear. Many masters have pointed out. Second thing is that if again quoting Kabir ji, okay, abhi baad mein. So quoting Kabir ji, he says, "Sukh mein sumiran na kiya, dukh mein karte yaad, kahe Kabir ta das ki, kaun sune faryad." So he says, you never practiced when your times were good.
Right.
So now when your times are not so good, who would listen to you? So it's almost impossible to practice when we have not practiced when we were healthy. It's hard, as you correctly said. It's very hard to bring mind home to the body, to stay with the pain, stay with the discomfort. Very hard, very challenging. And the only thing one can do is to not do anything. You feel helpless because we didn't practice. It's almost like, imagine that you are asked to play a concert in front of 10,000 people while you have hardly any practice of that instrument. You would not be able to do that. Yeah. So the basic premise is to keep practicing when we are in relatively good times. You can get up every morning, you can have your breakfast, have your coffee, you're able to eat well, sleep well. Practice. be mindful, be conscious. Their practice being working from your innate heart, good heart, being kind to people, compassionate to your own self and others, and choosing wisely for yourself and others, so that this becomes a habit. And when the times are bad, your habit helps you, because now this has become a habit. Being mindful has become a habit. So when times are bad, even then you would not be able to help but practice. It'll just make that groove, like a groove is set. So there are no shortcuts, and we will not be able to practice in difficult, tough times, especially with the body, if not, practice is not there in good times.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one more question, if you could answer. How do you introduce these concepts to your children? And at what age would be the right thing? How to talk about it? Because I think they have a very impressionable mind and things can go probably either way. So I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I think the children are very receptive. That's what I've seen, because I have two kids, you may have guessed by now. And they keep on coming and showing me something here and there. So I think with them, again quoting my experience, I see that whatever is my path, I've been able to spill it onto them. For example, if I began the practice of mindfulness and bringing mind to the breath and body, I talk about that, I practice that with them, and I see that they're receptive. And at the age of 9, 7.5, they follow it. They're able to follow. They're able to rest their minds in mindfulness, and they're able to bring the mind and attention to the body as this early age also, which is a very good practice for starting from this early age, because we were not told, when we were growing up, we had no clue what to do with our emotions and disturbing emotions. But with them, as whatever I practice with myself, I share it, and it helps. Many a times even they are able to remind me of bringing mind to breath, because we practice together. So I feel that there is much that can be done starting from a very early age. Because it's a supple age, and the kids especially are receptive to their mothers or the primary caretaker. So they listen. If there is a good relationship, they listen. It's not that they are trying to, just like, mostly teenagers become that they are trying to avoid their parents. So at the moment, it's not like that at this young age. So they listen, they follow. If there has been a good relationship, they follow the instruction, and then you have the benefit, which is a rested mind, a peaceful mind. Yeah. So I think with kids, whatever we practice, we can spill it out. I think it's very nice. We can be friends in the practice together. That's what I see. And then you are also acknowledging that, oh, I failed, right? So many a times, for example, if I am becoming angry, so I can say, oh, a dark cloud just came, and just let me just relax. I don't want to follow it. So whenever a dark cloud is coming, like of anger or some annoyance, many a times they remind me that, breath, for example. And then one has to be humble enough, grounded enough to offer that guidance from the child, because many a times as parents we feel that we are the all knowing, and we know, you don't know, I know. But when you know that, oh, I can also slip, and I slip just like you slip, I slip, right? So good to have reminders from each other. I think that really helps.
So to share a
Monica,
small incident when my children were small, I came home from office one day and I was in a very bad mood and I saw a big mess in the house and I just, I shouted at my kids, what is this mess and all. And my elder one, very coolly and very calmly, she's like, Mom, you're taking out your anger of other people on us. She- and I was like, "You're absolutely right." I went I looked at the mirror and I calmed myself down. And the child has the
Yeah,
wisdom.
exactly. This really helps, that you had the humility and groundedness, to accept that yes, this is happening, and to pause yourself down and calm yourself down. Yeah, beautiful. Yes, James, you were saying something?
Yeah, I was going to actually. I just wanted to go back to what Shaimala was saying about ill health and trying to growing consciousness. And my own feeling is that whatever the state of your health, as long as your aspiration is intact, as long as your aspiration is there, the potential for growth is enormous. It's endless. So I don't think that health is a factor. Really, it's aspiration. If you have the aspiration, you can conquer anything.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah,
Thank you,
so
James.
much.
Yeah.
Yes. That's very true. Yeah.
It's actually a very positive suggestion. Really. Thank you,
Yeah.
James.
Yeah. So anything else at the moment, anyone? Or we can listen to something short again, and then we can have some closing reflections. Okay. आनंद अभी बात नहीं करना है वैसे। Just a second. Yeah. Okay. बेटा वो ऊपर पड़ी है. So we'll listen to this because I think it's very important to again and again keep coming back to the present moment. As we were, I think somebody was suggesting surrender also. So let's hear this shortly.
When you stand, you can also practice I have arrived, I'm home. And when you lie down, you can also practice I have arrived, I'm home. At the end of the day, you like to rest. You go to bed. You lie down in your bed, and you may like to practice I have arrived, I'm home. Because several of us continue to run even in our sleep, in our dream, because running has become a habit. Not only we run during the day, but we run also during the night, in our sleep, in our dreams. That is why it's good that we practice I have arrived, I'm home, I don't want to run anymore. The moment when you lie down and you enjoy doing nothing, just feeling that you are home, you are in your bed, and you want to really rest. And you like to listen to the music of your breathing in and out. Your heart is playing music, and your lungs is playing music. You just tune to that kind of music. And whatever feelings and emotions arise, you allow that music of breathing to embrace it. And like that you can enter your sleep peacefully. And with much pleasure. So, the Gatha, the poem, I have arrived, I am home, can be used in 4 positions of the body: sitting, standing, walking, and lying down. And that is the practice of stopping. The practice of stopping is very crucial in the Buddhist tradition. There are moments when we don't do anything, we just sit there and we lie down, but our body has not stopped. There's a tension in our body. There's a kind of energy that push you, push your body. Your body want to do something, to be active, to run, to do something. Your body does not have the capacity to rest, to stop. That is why stopping does not mean just stopping the mind, but stopping the body. Because the body also has the habit of running, of being in movement. And there is a feeling of restlessness in the body. The body and the mind they are. The body contains the mind, and the mind contains the body. They intercontain each other. That is why helping the body to stop, you can help the mind to stop also. And helping the mind to stop, you help the body to stop. You practice with body and mind at the same time, not just with the mind. That is why meditation includes the body. You don't just meditate with your mind. You meditate with your body. And the Buddhist term for stopping is shamatha. In Pali, samatha. With this, you pronounce like shamatha. And the first meaning of shamatha is stopping. Without stopping, you cannot do much. And when you come to the deer park, you can enjoy shamatha as a practice of stopping. You stop during the time you sit, you stop during the time you walk. You even can stop during the time you run. We have jogging meditation. And while you are running, you have already stopped. Because you are not running after something. No. You are not searching for anything at all. You are completely at ease in the present moment. And that is the meaning of shamatha. And it sounds easy, but we need some training. We need a strong will also. We need a big desire in order to be able to stop.
I think this is also something which Saint Kabir talks about, that you've been walking and walking and running for lifetimes. When will you stop? And this also relates with the first day, I think, that we talked about getting disenchanted. We run only when we still have hope that I will find some fulfillment, some contentment, some lasting happiness from this world of fleeting phenomena. But when we have ran enough and we have hurt ourselves enough, we have wounded enough, then something in us would get convinced that I don't have to just keep on running like this. Haven't I hurt myself enough? And then we, as he was sharing, that there needs to be a big desire to stop this mad and incessant running. And when one of us stops within, when one of us brings the mind home, then we do a very big contribution to the whole of existence. It's like, further in this talk, Thich Nhat Hanh also shares that you have been running since the times of your grandfathers, and they've been running. So when you stop, you actually put a stop to this ancestral running that has been happening. Imagine. And then a new generation can come, a new kind of a life can come, a life which is lived without the need to run anywhere, knowing that you cannot get anything from this world, but you can offer yourself to this world. That's the world of self-giving. Each one of us offers himself, herself to the world, knowing that I don't demand anything in return. So staying connected with our true essence, true source, ultimate source that is there within each one of us, staying connected with that, one is able to live a life of fulfillment, progress, joy, and to offer oneself to the other. Okay, how can I serve you? How can I benefit you? I don't want anything from you, but can I offer you? What can I offer you? So we offer our presence. I think that's the biggest gift we can offer to the world. We offer our gentle presence to the world. And each one of us is very, very unique in the permutations, combinations of skills, abilities, very unique combinations we have. None is alike, billions of us, and none is alike. And that is the true presence we can offer to the world. What mother would say, psychic individuality. Or in Buddhism, they call it the bodhicitta, or the enlightened mind heart, so the deeper heart. That which does not demand anything from existence, but offers itself. And that is why I think it's very important to what we were discussing the past few days, to understand our disturbing emotions, to know their true nature, that it's just empty bubble, it doesn't have solidity that it appears like. Then it becomes very important to know their true nature, because if I don't know their true nature, then every time a disturbing emotion arises, I fall a prey to it. I take it too seriously. My mood, my anger, my jealousy, my ambition, my greed, and all of that. There is no my actually. It's just common. It's very impersonal. Everyone has desire. Everyone has greed. What's so personal about it? But when I see their true nature, then I am able to step back and not take it as my ambition, my vanity, pride, my respect, my fame. That minus dissolves, because you see the empty bubble-like nature of all this fleeting phenomena. And then only we are able to live from a deeper wisdom heart. Just a second. So that's our true nature. When Mother and Sri Aurobindo talk about psychic being, that let the psychic be in front of you, and the psychic qualities are kindness, compassion, wisdom, offering, self-giving. All these are psychic qualities, and all of us have these qualities with us. It's only that when we identify too much with the disturbing emotions, when we identify too much with our minus, me and my story and my life and everything, wanting everything for myself, then it gets masked. So the true nature gets masked. The bodhicitta, the enlightened heart and mind, or the psychic being, it gets masked. And the only way to uncover is to become conscious Whenever a certain unease arises in the being, Mother says to be very conscious of the unease. Become very conscious of the unease. And it's beautiful that disturbing emotions are very uneasy in nature. They're either too exciting or they're either too disappointing. Something is going on. It's not an easy state. So when we become conscious of these disturbing emotions, we can step back from them and choose not to follow their dictates. And again, this practice of stepping back, coming from Mother's words again, becoming conscious of the ripples of surface consciousness and choosing to step back. Why would I choose to step back? Because I have ran enough, because I have wounded myself and others enough. Hence, I would now step back. So purifying, I feel that there is a lot of purification which continues to happen on this journey. Continuously purifying our intentions, looking at our intentions, looking at the ill will that arises from time to time, and to transform into goodwill. Rejoicing, one thing which also comes here is rejoicing in others' happiness. So for example, you got something which you were waiting, somebody else got something which you have been waiting for, maybe a move to other country, or maybe a child, or maybe a job, good money. Somebody else got it, but although you had been waiting. So to be able to rejoice in others' happiness, that also creates a very good heart. Instead of being jealous and I am less worthy and he is more worthy, instead of those kind of talks, if we can rejoice that how happy the other one would be that he has got finally what he wanted. So to be able to rejoice in others' happiness, that also expands our heart and gets in touch with the psychic. And to share our goodness, share whenever you're feeling happy. We were discussing last few days that if you have suddenly become now conscious of, oh, I feel very easy and light, may everyone feel this lightness and ease. So you share it immediately, you don't keep it to yourself, you share that lightness with everyone. So again and again, constantly purifying our intentions, because if you really look deeply and become conscious, we have many bad intentions lurking, which when we don't become conscious of, we follow their dictates. So I feel this process of purification is really a long one, like long way to go for each one of us. So we can take some last reflections. Anyone? Anything? One thing which also is coming to me, if no one is sharing, is that to know that whatever action is done from the dictates of the ego, this meanness, minus, or the disturbing, conflicting patterns and emotions, whatever action is done through that gives rise to further accumulation of karma to which one is tied now. And at whatever moment I am able to be conscious of the disturbing tendency or pattern, and I'm able to step back from it and choose not to follow the dictate, there lies our free will actually. Then I negate, then I do not generate more and more accumulation of karma. So whatever is done from the knot of ego gives rise to more accumulation and heaviness in life. And whenever I'm able to step back from the ego and take an action which is more than me, beyond me, and for the benefit of others, at every action there is negation of the previous accumulation and there is no further accumulation happening. So looking at our intentions, then I feel that becomes very good. as a practice, that what am I intending to do? So the same action, outward action, can be done with a bad intention and with a good intention. Like mother says, what matters is the law of right attitude. So if I'm helping the other, even this help can be with the intention of self-aggrandization. So it will actually, on the surface, it's looking like a wow, what an act of kindness. But the intention is to make myself more aggrandized from within. I did that. So that leads to further accumulation. I'm still doing it from the knot of ego. Although in effect it's helping someone. So like everything has a proper place, it helps someone. But if the same action is done with a kind of egolessness, that okay, here I am and how can I benefit you today, then it helps us to purify our intentions, keeps us lighter, and also helps the other in effect, which is anyway helping. But I think this inward movement nobody else can trace for us. That's why the importance of honesty and sincerity. Yeah, anything else? Anyone? I have my kids around me. Sorry for that. Okay. One other thing, now that we are sitting and we have time, comes to me is that in teachings they say that mind is the rider and the breath is the horse. And all the patterns and tendencies that we follow, parallelly associated with that is a pattern of breath. And if now I again and again stick to the breath, like become more and more mindful of the breathing, being mindful of the breathing, I can actually change the patterns of the mind. So it's, since they are connected. So the more mindful I become of my breathing and stay in tune with the body, I can actually work on the repeated patterns which have been sticking to me for a long time. Okay. Parvinder
Actually,
ji.
Mark,
Yeah, sorry. Yes, James?
we've spoken a lot, you've spoken a lot about breath as a link to the consciousness. What about mantra as a link to the consciousness? Because that is something that is very close to me, actually. Can you speak a little bit about that, Monica?
Why don't you go ahead, James, and share something? Because I would not be able to say much about it. If it's your experience, please share.
Well, for me, it's something that has a very accumulative sort of effect, and it resonates so much, the vibration with the repetition, the habit of repetition. It vibrates so much in the being, and it really dissipates a lot of these surface mental tendencies that we've spoken about. The mother herself said that japa is really something that is used to control the physical mind. And for me, japa is very, very powerful, because once you start and you continue with earnest and sincerity, and it accumulates in you, it accumulates in your consciousness, and it becomes a part of you. And eventually, although I can't say I've reached that stage yet, the japa repeats itself inside your being. And actually, there is a way also of synchronizing the japa with the breath, because it's like if it's one syllable or two syllables, you can actually synchronize it very beautifully with the breath. And that's something that I do actually, and I find it very powerful. I mean, I'm a novice at it, but it's something that really does work for me. And it helps. It also works in such a way with the body as well, the physical consciousness. It works very, because the habitual tendency of the japa, the mantra, counteracts the habitual tendencies of the body itself, if you see what I mean. So, well, we've got a workshop coming up with Dr. Alok coming soon, and that's something I'd like to speak about at quite length. But I also very much resonate with what you're saying about the breath, Monica. It really, you know, times when you align your breath and you understand and really become conscious of the rhythm of your breathing. It's a very, very powerful tool, very, very powerful. But I think when it's aligned to the mantra or the japa, if the japa is calling you, it doesn't necessarily have to call everyone. If the japa is calling you, the vibration of the sound is calling you, you have to choose the japa yourself, then it's very, very powerful.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. So, Parvinder ji has asked something. I can spend 5 minutes on it. Would you like to share about journey from traditional medicine to this path, in case you wish to share? So I'm not sure, Parvinder ji, what are you asking from traditional medicine? So my journey with cancer or my journey being immunologist and
Immunologist.
Okay, okay. So very shortly, I was always interested in biology because somehow I could just remember facts, maybe. And there was quite a good amount of remembering and drawing in biology. So that's why I chose biology. And then finally, when I was doing PhD in immunology, autoimmune diseases in University of Zurich, actually something as if I underwent a kind of a disillusionment from the regular science and research. Why? Because there I could see that here are people who have autoimmune disorders, like the immune system is attacked by its own army. And the only thing I am able to do here is I'm taking their blood samples, working, trying to figure out a few antigens here and there, antibodies here and there with the blood samples. But what about their mental and emotional states? Who addresses that? So when towards the end of my PhD, I was struggling in my own head, not that I shared with it anyone, I began almost like a seeking, like where can I find this integration of where a person's emotional mental status also is considered when talking about a cure for diseases. So I would say towards the end of my PhD, when I was kind of disillusioned with regular research science, I somehow was led in a series of events. I was led to come to, for example, say Mother Sri Aurobindo later. And I was also given my own self a good experiment. So I was given cancer to go through. And when it came, I feel it was like a raw experiment in front of me. Like, here it is, you have a disease. Now let us see what about the mental component, emotional component, and how is it related to the physical health. And I feel that cancer really helped me to know this integration aspect, that we are actually the mind, body, spirit, they're all interconnected, and we cannot exclude them if we want to have a really root cure for the illness. Having said that, it would not mean that I cured my cancer. It just means that I got to know that I was creating my cancer. That was very obvious somehow. That my mental, emotional garbage was responsible for what was cooking inside me. So the disease as if came as a knock on the door of, hey, check your status within, check your status within, what's getting cooked, what's getting cooked. So it brought me back to being aware of myself, I would say. And that journey has been just continuing. There's no end to it, I feel. Deeper and deeper awakenings, even surface level, we again and again get entangled here and there. So just to have this constant check-in within, that what is the mental state I am in, what is the emotional state I am in, this constant bringing the mind home to the body, that really helped me, I would say, in either going through my illness or in understanding, connecting the dots that most of the diseases are psychosomatic in nature and we are creating our own reality. And that, as I said, that doesn't mean that I cured my cancer. I think it's only grace, because grace works in many, many different ways. And mother says that when you have cured something, you feel that, oh, because of this, I was able to cure my illness. But mother says that it's just one of the ways of working of the grace. Don't think that by that particular thing you can cure your disease. It's only grace that works through infinite possibilities. So whether veganism was able to cure you, you think, whether some juices were able to cure you, if not for the grace, nothing has the power. So that's, I feel that leaves the conceptual limited mind still, I don't know what worked. I don't know what worked. But something worked. And we don't know how long it will work. So I'm, at every moment, I feel very ready to be challenged with something more, because I don't know. And even if another challenge comes, it's one thing is for sure, which is divine certitude, that it's all for our growth of consciousness. So whether a disease, whether a broken family relationship, doesn't matter. It's all for growth of consciousness. Divine is really very compassionate. So we can be really, really sure that whatever situation we are going through, it's for our own growth of consciousness. We are in safe hands all the time. So I think that's what shortly I can share.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so I think we can, close here, and wishing everyone a very, very happy, joyous practice for coming years and moments and days to come. And thank you, James, for providing the platform to be able to share, talk, and reflect together. And thank you, everyone, for being here and so receptive. Yeah. Thank you, James.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Monica.
Thank you.
Thanks, James.
Thanks. James, you are muted. Are you saying something?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be circulating feedback forms very shortly. And just to let you know that NAMAH is very actively engaged in running a lot of interesting workshops, and there's some interesting ones coming up very soon now. So please watch out, and hope to see you soon. And so everyone, wish you all a very good evening. Thank you very much, Monica. And thank you, Mo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, James.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
Yes,
Bye,
bye.
Gardu.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.